So I decided to try something a little bit different this time for my YouTube channel. Now, you know, I'm always talking about black empowerment and all this kind of stuff, but you know, I'm going to keep doing that. But you know, I absolutely love reading the Tell Me Pastor section in the Gleaner magazine. I absolutely love reading this. So, you know, I'm going to read a couple of these advice columns. Well, I'm going to read a couple of these problems and see if I can come up with my own little solutions. And also, you know, read what the pastor says about them. Because, you know, if you're like me, Jamaican, love reading the Tell Me Pastor section. You would also know about him if you read the Gleaner, you know? Trust me, get it. So, let's see which one I'm going to read first. Okay, so this one is called My Wife Doesn't Want Me to See Her Naked. So it says, Dear Pastor, I have a problem that I would like to relate to you. I told my wife that I would talk to her pastor about it, but she said that would make her feel ashamed. So I am turning to you for help. My wife and I are both Christians, and we have been married, for 6 months. I used to hear that some Christian women hide their vagina from their men, but I did not know that my wife was like that. I talked to her about it, but she hasn't changed. I once tried to go into the bathroom while she was having a shower, and she cried out for rape. I did not even touch her, Pastor. Whenever she goes to the bathroom and she comes out, she is fully dressed. When I play with her in bed, she wants everything to happen under the sheets. What do you think is wrong with this woman, Pastor? Please tell me what you think. Now, for me to give my own advice, it seems like either this woman has been sexually abused in the past, or she could be like quite a few women who typically don't want men to see their bodies because we feel uncomfortable. There could be any reason behind this. Sometimes women, we have stretch marks on our stomach or on our thighs and we don't want our men to see it. Or sometimes our body is a bit, you know, fully figured. We have a bit of a belly, and you know, we have a bit of weight on us, and we're not truly comfortable with ourselves. So we like everything has to be done under the sheets, or everything has to be done in the dark, because, you know, like I don't mind having sex with you, but I don't want you to see my body. And honestly, my advice would be, first of all, he needs to sit his wife down and have a conversation with her about why she feels like that. Because it's one thing to write into the Tell Me Pastor section, but have you actually spoken to your wife like deeply for why she feels so insecure in her body? Like, what is actually the problem behind it? Because it could just be like a simple thing that you can help her with. Maybe she needs to go to see a therapist or something because she feels really insecure. And a lot of us women do have hang-ups with our bodies, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. However, the right thing is having a reassuring husband who will, you know, understand, who will try his best to understand and try to get you help. That is the thing that we're looking for. If we're choosing a partner, we want someone who understands that, yes, I have, you know, some issues, some hang-ups, and I would like someone who would help me deal with it. Or if they can't help me, like, you know, put me in the right direction of someone who can help. Because, you know, that is what partnership is all about, really. So the pastor's advice is DMK. It seems to me that this woman has not got over her sexual inhibitions. I do not know whether you have had premarital counselling before you got married, but counselling would have probably helped. She does not want you to see her in the nude, and that is very sad. However, it does not mean that something is wrong with her. When women are so very shy and have never had sex before, on their wedding nights, their husband should undress them with all the lights on and ensure them that everything is all right. You might be surprised to know that some men have been so frustrated with women that they have threatened to take them back to their parents. I could threaten to take them back to their parents because because these women don't want to have sex with them, or that they feel like they can't undress in front of you. Okay then. News. You might be surprised to know that some men have been so frustrated with women that they have threatened to take them back to their parents. I can understand a couple of nights of frustration, but 6 months is a very long time for a man to be undergoing such stress with his wife. Typical of a man to say that though, ain't it? Tell your wife that she is playing with her future. If the night is not cold, why would your wife want both of you to go under a blanket or sheet to have sex? That is foolishness. You see? The misogyny, it just jumps off the freaking page. What do you mean tell your wife that she is playing with her future? Pastor, please. Playing with what future? What future? So you think that because it's been 6 months and she's still insecure, that means that he's just going to leave her? If you're not high your ass, man. Buy some books and read them together. You have no problem with standing or lying down in the nude with her. She shouldn't have a problem doing the same. Your case is not unusual. This happens all the time with some people. You need to make an appointment for you and your wife to see a sex therapist, which I suggested, maybe a therapist, who can help her to overcome her sexual inhibitions. Pastor. Boy, sir. Boy. Oh dear. Let's see the next one. So it says, Mum hates my boyfriend because he's black. Dear Pastor, I have a boyfriend and he is treating me very well. But most of my family don't like him. He is short and dark-skinned. Oh Lord, here we go. I am of light complexion and my mother is of light complexion too. Whenever I talk about him, my mother tells me not to call his name around her. My father is not brown, but not very black either. My boyfriend is bright. He is 22 and I am 18. He is in university and I am entering very soon. I am a Christian, but he is not. He asked me for sex and I told him that he should wait. Smart girl. He wants to know for how long. I told him when I am ready, I will tell him. See, smart. My mother told my father in my presence that she believes that I'm going to bring home a belly. Basically, if you don't understand Caribbean lingo, basically bringing home a belly just means that her mother feels that this guy's going to get her pregnant. What kind of stupidness, man? Not necessarily. And she's not going to take care of my baby, especially if it were my boyfriend who gave me the belly. Basically, she's saying she don't want to take care of a child that's produced by a dark-skinned man. Basically, that's what she's saying. When I checked it out, my mother had her first child when she was 18. Every time we have a mother-daughter talk, she has to warn me about sex. My sister is only 15 and already she has a boyfriend. My mother is not saying anything about that because the guy is brown and he comes from uptown. Lord God, here we go. She even has his picture in the room that we share together. When I begin university, I want to stay on campus because I know that my mother doesn't like me and my boyfriend. So the best thing for me and my boyfriend is to stay away from her. I'm accepted by my boyfriend's family. I am not a bad girl, but I'm not unhappy because my mother does not like my boyfriend. Okay, so the initials are CP. Basically, your mother is very, very, very colorist. And unfortunately, she's not going to change. Because it seems to me like you've been with your boyfriend for quite a while and she's still not changed. Then she's not going to change. You see, the thing is, within Caribbean communities, a lot of the older generation have these colorist views because they see light skin or white skin as powerful. You see, like how her little sister is 15 and she has a boyfriend and her mother doesn't have a problem with her boyfriend because he's brown and he's from uptown, which means, you know, like brown uptown in Jamaican society is seen as higher class, it's seen as worthy. You know, the closer you are in proximity to whiteness, the more you are seen as acceptable. But her boyfriend, who is 22, is in university and she's 18, her mother hates him, and if he gets her daughter pregnant, she's basically going to disown the whole lot of them. Now, this woman seems to me like she doesn't even like her own daughter, because if she liked her own daughter, then she would accept her choice in a partner. And it's a good thing that she said to her partner, I'm not ready for sex now, and he's actually listened. Which is a whole nother discussion altogether. However, her mother to say to her in her father's presence, to say, oh, I believe she's going to come home and she believes she's going to come home with belly, that is a disgusting thing to say about your daughter. Your daughter's about to start university, and she's 18. She may not be a grown woman yet, but she is an adult. So for you to still have these negative attitudes about colorism and all this kind of stuff, it's nonsense. Let your daughter grow, evolve. Let her have her man, because he's not causing any issues. He's not causing any issues. And the fact he's a smart guy who's in university, that's still not good enough for her. Says it all, really, because he's too dark. This is the thing with Caribbean people. If a person is too dark, even if they're university educated, there's still underneath brown and light skinned people. And that's the one thing that pisses me off about being Caribbean. We still have these attitudes. I mean, like I said in my video on colorism, back in the day, dark-skinned people couldn't even get jobs in hotels or jobs in banks. If you was a dark-skinned person, to get a job in a hotel, you'd have to work the back. They wouldn't allow you at the front to greet the people. You weren't allowed to work in banks. This shit only changed in the 90s. Like, the late 90s is when this shit changed. In the early 90s, you would not see no dark-skinned people working. It doesn't even matter about intelligence. They did not care if you was intelligent. If you were dark, you were not seen as presentable, and that's what it is. It's what really gets on my nerves. So for this girl CP, listen, go to university, be on your university campus, just do you. Your boyfriend's family accepts you. You may have to start thinking about maybe you should disown your mother, because I don't really see how you're going to have this conversation with her, because she's not willing to listen. She's a very negative woman, and you don't need that energy, especially when you're going into university. You don't need that type of negative energy latching onto you and your soul, because it will bring you down, and it will impact on your university experience. So, do you. And Tell Me Pastor's advice is, dear CP, your mother is a backwards woman, damn right. She ought to learn not to judge a person by the colour of her skin. It's amazing that people continue to be impressed by people of light complexion. Ain't that the truth, though? Anyway, years ago it was worse. Thank God very few people can get jobs solely on the colour of their skin or because they are of light complexion. Yeah, it's changed up a lot. A person who is educated will get the job over someone who was of light complexion. I hope it is only a matter of time for your mother to change, so don't be surprised that if your boyfriend does well at university and gets a good job, she will embrace him as her son-in-law. She would be forced to do so if you are determined that this man is going to be your partner for life. Some parents seem to believe that there is no big thing when they show preference to a child because of the colour of her skin. But even into adulthood, children remember and talk about it and often resent their parents. I was talking to a colleague some years ago. He was about 50 at the time. His father was of light complexion, and he told me that his mother was of dark complexion. He said his father gave him a difficult time when he was growing up. He didn't like him at all because his complexion was dark. But when his father became ill and everybody left him, he was the only one who took care of him. I remember accompanying him to see his father and saw how happy his father was to see him. So I say to you, love your mother, although she resents your boyfriend. And see how happy his father was Oops, sorry, my bad. You can never tell what could happen in the future. I don't wish any bad thing to happen to your sister. I hope that she will not allow her boyfriend to get her pregnant. Her mother should not be encouraging her to go study at the age of 15. But don't fuss and fight with your mother, and don't allow this relationship that you are having with this man to get to your head. Boy, what kind of madness. So I've read you 2 stories. I'm going to try and do this weekly now, where I read the Tell Me Pasta section in the Gleaner. If you're not seeing the Gleaner, it looks like this on the cover. Yeah, it looks like that. So yeah, so I shall see you on Friday for some more YouTube videos. All right, bye.